Oh, hello. Uh, in today's video, I'm going to ask the question, what's the deal with Novitiates in Kill Team? And I'm not talking about the fluff, although if you'll indulge me for an extra moment, um, their background's kind of interesting because they're basically a school trip, right? They're not like an elite commando unit. They're the trainees on like the world's worst school trip. But yeah, no, we're talking about gameplay today. What's the deal with Novitiates in Kill Team, gameplay-wise? So the first thing I want to address is, yeah, it's quite possible that I'm just mining salt, and I'm trying not to, and I'm trying to be objective. But as you'll know from my last video, I did recently go to an event with the Novitiates and failed to win a single game, and had a bit of a crisis, and I've started playing in my kind of regular weekly friendly games with Plague Marines. I actually got a win with Plague Marines. Either it's not me saying Compendium Plague Marines are good, or even that I'm just going to take Compendium Plague Marines the next time I go to Warhammer World, which I might, but I probably am not. But it was just a required reset and a little rest for my brain without wanting to just because what I didn't want to do was get irritated with Whole of Kill Team, because it's really the only miniatures war game that I'm playing regularly, and I still love it, and what I love about it is how easy it is to get regular games. But yeah, so it is possible that I'm just really bad at the game, and like I said in my review video, I enjoyed, with like one exception, maybe two, I enjoyed all my games individually as events. Like, I don't get upset when I lose. I did just kind of get a bit down having lost like 3 consecutive games in a day, and then another 3 consecutive games. That's where I am. So these are things that have occurred to me, and I'm putting them out there to kind of sanity check them with some people that don't have the biases I have. And if this comes off as angry or a rant or anything like that, please do call me out on it in the comments, and I'll try and reassess. Okay, but I feel like I had to get that out there first of all. So the first point I want to make is there's this received wisdom. There's this wisdom of crowds. There's all these really good, popular, insightful content creators out there. I'm talking about Glass Half Dead. I'm talking about Can You Roll a Crip? I'm talking about Command Point. I'm talking about all the big Kill Team discords, and everyone says, and it's come up a few times lately in different videos, in little bits of conversations, Novitiates are really, really strong. Novitiates are really, really strong, and I've not seen a single battle report like with Novitiates winning in Kill Team. Maybe they're out there, I've missed them. I've not seen a single person going to an event and using them and placing like in the top 5. I have heard anecdotally that they do really, really well on Tabletop Simulator. I have personally, because I'm such a hobby hero, like, this is not me dumping on someone else's hobby and someone else's enjoyment. I am really into the hobby and painting, so I don't think Tabletop Simulator is something I really care about, but it's really interesting why would playing the game in a different way yield a different kind of result? Maybe because the game's going to take a longer time and it's more of a thoughtful, more chess-like. I don't know. But there's no YouTube channel out there. There's no one out there who's really talking about them as a main thing and really digging into their strategies, apart from me. So if you're here because you too are struggling with the Novitiates and you want some answers, I'm going to try and give you some answers, but they're not going to be good answers. They're not answers on the back of having won loads of games and collected a trophy. They're just noodlings. That's really all they are. So that's just my first point, is this frustrating wisdom that they're really, 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 really good, with nobody can point to me like this guy, this John Smith over here won this event with, this is what he did, this is what he took, and this is, I played against him and here's how he destroyed me in 2 turns or whatever it is. There isn't that. Whereas there's loads of evidence of that when it comes to teams like Pathfinders, Vet Guard, Commandos. You can see the stories and the personalities and the people that prove that those things are really powerful and really well honed teams in the hands of the right players, right? And Harlequins as well. Oh, good lord, yeah. I don't think the Novitiates are up there with Vet Guard, Harlequins. You know, Pathfinders have just been nerfed, so we don't really know. But you know, again, if you know somebody, point them out to me in the comments. What I want to talk about a little bit is the numbers game. And I think some people need to readjust their thinking a little bit. I'm certainly one of the people that needs to readjust their thinking a little bit. I think in Kill Team, after the Compendium came out, we would think of a 10-man team as being a big team, because there are so many Compendium teams that have less than 10. 10 is not a big team anymore. So I went to the event a couple of weekends ago now, 6 games. I won one game, I had the numbers advantage in terms of miniatures on the field. You know, because I played against Pathfinders a couple of times, I played against Veteran Guardsmen, I played against Compendium Tyranids, and I played against Wormblade. And I did also play against Talons, and it was only against the Talons that I outnumbered. And I think if you look at the teams that a lot of people are using, Pathfinders, Veteran Guardsmen, Compendium Tyranids were there, that was maybe a bit of an outlier, but these are all teams that can put down more than that 10. And so you're playing a team in the Novitiates which feels like it's designed to have in its favour that it's probably going to outnumber. And so when your experience is that you're not outnumbering, I don't know, like they seem balanced around the idea that, yeah, it's very easy to lose one, but losing one's not going to be the end of the world because you've got 10, and that's fine. But if your opponent has 12 or 14, it puts a different slant on it. There's also the thing about how fragile they are. 7 wounds and a 4-up save makes them the most fragile thing in the game. And on this note, I want to kind of say, it'd be really interesting. A lot of people have looked at Corsairs from the new Natman box and said that the Corsairs are amazingly strong. They're going to be the amazingly strong team. They're so much better than Legionaries. Corsairs all day long. Corsairs are 8 models with a 4-up save. I think they've got 8 wounds, right? Which is kind of a big deal because it means that you need 2 crits to kill them outright rather than a crit and hit, right? With most things, but are they going to fall into this thing where they just die? They die and they die and they die. And I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how that goes. But I think people have to just readjust their thinking around. I mean, Corsairs are only 8 models, which seems, after my experience with Novitiates, I am the opposite of excited about Corsairs because they're nearly as weak and they're going down to 8 models. They really have to be, each of those 8 models has to be really something special that's used to an absolute maximum of utility every single turn. And I know that you can get like 4 or 5 action points worth of actions out of them with mission actions and stuff like that, but that's only when the stars align to give you that. I think they're still going to struggle against it. Pathfinders and Vet Guard are the big 2 in my mind, and it's just because they're powerful teams, they're strong teams, but they've got that overwhelming numeric advantage. And if you go the other way and you look at Legionaries, maybe they're okay with their 6 models because at least they're wounds-wise, they can take a little bit of punishment. Right? I don't know. This is a frustrating video to listen to, I'm sure, because I'm really just asking questions. It's questions I'd like the answers to. Things that are rattling around in my head that don't make sense to me, that go against the... It's hard, right? To stick your neck out there and say, everybody seems to think this, but I have these questions. And it's that Emperor's New Clothes style fear of exclusion thing. If you're sitting on the outside going, well, actually, I don't understand why this is supposed to be strong. And the answer that you're probably going to get back is because you're very stupid. But if nobody's asking the question, like, are they really that good? If nobody's asking that question, then it is possible that everyone's just parroting this, oh, Novitiates are really strong. Because they look on paper like they're really strong. They've got a lot of rules text, but yeah, that's basically my thoughts on that. There are some things I've been sleeping on, right? So there are some things that I personally could do better because a big part of making this video was to really research what people are. There's not a lot. There isn't a lot of tactical coaching workshop-y content for Novitiates. There is absolutely loads of it. If you want to know how to be Pathfinders or how to play Vet Guard and how to excel at those teams. There's loads of stuff out there that you can read up on and what people are doing. For some reason, it's harder in Novitiates. I wonder if it's because nobody's really playing them at the competitive level. Some things I am sleeping on, the Flamers, which I knew, but it was because that initial box, that first box that I got, I didn't build the Flamers because I wanted to build all the cool, interesting new models. And then I got the second box, and it took me ages to get around to it because life got in the way, which is a recurring theme at the moment. A glorious theme, but a recurring one. And it took me ages to get them painted. So yeah, that event, that weekend, was my first time using the Flamers, and I didn't really know how to use them. I need to get practice games in with my flamethrowers. I need to be using the 2 flamethrowers in every single game and getting in the practice games. And I didn't even really know who to drop to put the flamers in. I said this at the time. So in the first day, I was dropping the mace lady with the reroll armors aura, as well as the banner. And then I had that conversation with Zimbad in the pub, and I decided instead to drop the Dialogus and the banner. And then on the net, the received wisdom is to drop the duelist and the banner. So the one thing we all agreed on is that the banner is the most useless piece. I did really like the duelist, but maybe the cold hard reality of maths is that she's not the best combat efficient model. Another thing I've been definitely sleeping on is the auto chastiser. The auto chastiser basically gives you ceaseless for 1 equipment point. So you can reroll all your ones forever for free. But the one caveat is if you roll a 1 and you re-roll it and you roll another 1, you take a mortal wound. Sisters can spend a single faith point to ignore a mortal wound, and 1 mortal wound, you've only got 7 wounds. So you're going from being killed by a stiff breeze to being killed by a stiff breeze. Like, it's not fine to take wounds willy-nilly, but at the same time, it's not going to affect the fact that if you get charged, you're going to die, right? If someone gets a decent shot on you with a bolter, you're going to die. You're going to have to spend those faith points, spend that defensive resource one way or the other. But why am I not taking these on my leader every single game? Leader's got a plasma pistol. Right. Hits on 2s, I can if I take this piece of equipment, I can reroll 1s. I can fire high power every single turn, which I do anyway because I'm a maverick. Right? And I can never, it's like a running joke. When I'm playing against Zimbad, I say to him, oh, I probably shouldn't use high power, but I'm gonna, you know, because the other profile doesn't exist. So I should take it on the Flamers as well. Another friend of mine, Roboros, on the Discord actually said at one point you could take 10 and put 1 on every model on your team and take nothing else, and that would be really good. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I kind of want some grenades. I kind of want some, you know, free faith things. Maybe I should just take 10 auto chastisers, right, and have every single thing with an auto chastiser. Maybe that's the secret sauce. I don't know. Oh, I don't even want to mention this, but I feel like I have to for a very particular reason. So there's another YouTuber, very famous in the UK scene, Can You Roll a Crip? And he was also at the same event, the Narrative week-long event. Our paths did not cross, and he recently put out his event review video, which I will link in the description because I'm mentioning it. And he's a really nice. I don't know him personally, but like I'm a subscriber to his channel. He's a really nice guy. His videos are really informative. He's very competitive and a little bit ruthless. He does have a tendency to go, oh, this is a really broken thing to do, and then he goes and does the broken thing until they fix it, because that's his mindset, which is absolutely fine. He says in his video, and I've pretty much quoted it, I've kind of truncated it for parts, but basically the long and the short of it is, at Warhammer World, somebody got a ruling, and it wasn't me. The reason I feel like I have to mention it is because I put out my video as well, and I play Novitiates, and people might then see my video and then see Crip's video, and the first question I got on the Discord when I mentioned this was that you? And it wasn't me. There was one other Novitiates player at the event, which is kind of my problem. He has a 60-player event, I think, and there was 2 of us playing Novitiates, which indicates to me that they're not actually regarded as a top-tier team, but I'll stop flogging that horse for a minute, because the point that I want to make is the other Novitiates player got a ruling from the judges. Now, Crip seems to imply in his video, was it from the judges? Was it from the rules team? Do the judges consult the rules team? Are the rules team there in Nottingham on a Sunday? Or did they text them? And the ruling that was received is that apparently the rules in the Novitiates rules that refer to your specialisms, so combat specialism, marksman specialism, staunch specialism, scout specialism, that generate faith points, they are designed to be used in matched play. So let's talk about this chestnut. So I've got the full rules clipped on the side of the screen here, right? And so let me just grab a highlighter, good, nice yellow highlighter. So, Acts of Faith. Keep a pool of faith points at the start of each turning point. If there are any friendly novitiate operatives in the kill zone, you gain 3 faith points. Okay, so there's your 3 that you get base. We all know about that. In addition, you gain 1 faith point at the end of an activation if any of the following apply. During that activation, a friendly novitiate operative with the combat specialism incapacitated an enemy operative in combat. During the activation, a friendly novitiate operative with the marksman specialism incapacitated an enemy operative with a shooting attack. During the activation, a friendly novitiate operative with the staunch specialisation performed a mission action. A friendly novitiate operative with the scout specialisation was activated and finished the activation within red of the enemy drop zone. Faith points can be subtracted so that friendly novitiate operatives can perform acts of faith listed below. Each act of faith specify when it can be used, how many its effect, and how many faith points you must subtract from your total to use it. If you cannot subtract the required faith points, you cannot perform the act of faith. Unless otherwise specified, only 1 act of faith can be used during each activation, friendly or enemy. For example, a shooting attack is made against a friendly novitiate operative. In the roll defense dice step of that shooting attack, the operative's controlling player decides to subtract 2 faith points used to find shield and retain 1 save. Know that acts of faith can then be used during the activation other than faithful blessing. That's why we understand all that. The bit we're talking about is these bullets here. Now, if you don't play novitiates and you've never played narrative, you are probably scratching your head and thinking, what is a marksman specialisation? What is a staunch specialisation? What are these things? And basically, my understanding is, having also never played narrative, when you play narrative and you level up, you can specialise and gain these specialisations. And that's the only way you can get them. And you don't start with them. So that's why the community thinks that this is... It's annoying because it doesn't say anywhere in the narrative play or during a campaign, like, which will clear this right up, right? It doesn't say that, and it's not pensioned off. It is definitely in the main rules text, but the commonly received idea is it's for narrative play because you cannot have a combat specialisation in match play. What you can be is eligible to take certain specialisations, right? So if you look at any kill team data card for anyone, they've got those sort of 4 icons down in the bottom right hand corner, and some of them are coloured in orange and some of them are greyed out. Those are the specialisms that you are eligible to go down as you level up in a narrative game. Now, is this ruling that was received at Warhammer World that it's meant to talk? It says has the combat specialism, but it meant to say would be eligible to take the combat specialism, would be eligible to take the marksman specialism, would be able to take the staunch specialism, right? So, look, I am not pushing for people to play this way. I'm not. Because rules as written, it doesn't work. And Warhammer World rulings are not binding, right? They're not the same as an FAQ. If the designers want to FAQ this, right, then they will put it in an FAQ errata document. They have that channel available, right? So it's not me saying, oh, this happened and it's to my advantage, so we should all be playing this way from now on. Absolutely not. But it, of course, interests me, right? Of course it interests me. Everybody's interested if they might be getting a buff at some point in the future. So I feel like it's important to talk about it and make some noise so that the designers go, oh, this is being mentioned, this came up at Warhammer World, and hopefully, like the best outcome, they put it in the FAQ. Whatever the answer is, they put it in the FAQ so we can stop talking about it. I don't think it will be that strong, but then of course I would say that because I'm losing with Novitiates, right? So I don't think getting 1 or 2 extra faith points a turn would be that strong. Now there are some people, I'm sure, from the discourse that I've read online, who have just, their eyeballs have just exploded at that sentence. Like, what do you mean? That was 1 or 2 faith points a turn wouldn't be a massive advantage. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, right, but maybe that's a thing. Maybe that will. It's definitely not a thing because Warhammer World rulings aren't binding. But maybe it's going to be a thing in the future when there's an FAQ, right? Now, it puts me in an awkward situation because in June I'm going to Warhammer World. And the one place where Warhammer World rulings might be binding is at future Warhammer World events. So as somebody who only ever plays in my dining room and at Warhammer World, should I start playing this way on the basis that that's the way that it's being played? That's like the Warhammer World house rules? I won't, because I would hate to go to an event and win and for my opponent to say, oh, you win because of this weird house rule that they play here. I couldn't deal with that, so I'm not going to, but it's worth talking about. It is noteworthy, so we are noting it. Alright, that's pretty much all from me, he said, as he moved on to the final thoughts slide, where he typically spends between 30 and 50% of the video. But I need to apologise for the lack of content, so my life has taken a pretty strange turn over the last week or so. First of all, I've said before, I'm a teacher. Schools have really about 2 periods in a year when we have a lot of crunch, where we really have to work long hours, and that's when the kids have their mock exams and we've got to mark all the papers at Christmas and Easter. At least in our school it's Christmas and Easter, and then we generate the reports that get sent home. So I have spent the last week basically marking. I got to watch the Adepticon previews because that was my deadline day to get the marks entered remotely onto the system. So I finished marking at 1 in the morning. Bearing in mind I was getting up for work the next day at 6:15. I finished marking at 1 in the morning and I thought, well, I'm up, I'll stay up another hour and I'll watch the Adepticon show, and then, you know, I'll go to bed at 3 o'clock, get a joyous 3 hours sleep, buy a monster on the way to school, and then, you know, yeah. So life gets in the way. Obviously we moved house and I seem to be endlessly doing house moving stuff. I did some gardening today. I've only ever lived in a flat before. I've never mowed a lawn in my life, so that was an experience. Tomorrow I'm going to IKEA because yeah, that's what you do. Also expecting a child in September, so that's the thing. I don't know how, obviously I'm ecstatic about that, but I also don't quite know how my life will look. Will there be such a thing as free time for the next 5 years? I mean, I'm sure I'll find some time somewhere to record a video, but it doesn't bode well for this whole YouTube channel project, does it? But other people manage. Other people do manage somehow, so there's that. So that's my tableau of excuses for why there's been like a week-long gap in content. Good. It feels good to confess my sins, as it were. Please, if you have strong thoughts on this video, even if they're highly critical of what I've said, post them. If you can point to somebody out there in internet land who is storming events with the Novitiates and finishing in the top 5, let me know where they are, where they can be found, and so that I may go and supplicate for their wisdom. Okay, that would really help me. Okay, and then everything else, subscribe if you haven't already, because it really helps. I've got a really tiny channel I'm trying to grow up. If I get to that kind of 1,000 subscriber mark, that's really good. Element Games, Noble Knight Games, the links are in the box thing. The Discord, yeah, it's a great cracking Discord. It's really picking up and becoming active, and you know, there are messages on the Discord nearly every day. That's really good. So consider joining the Discord as well. That'd be really positive, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. It's been a bit of a self-indulgent one. I'll get back onto the train. I'm reviewing different things. I'm going to share my thoughts on the Plague Marines at some point, because I've been playing Compendium Plague Marines a little bit, so that'll be a more well-informed than usual sort of Compendium team review. And then we're going to talk, of course, about the new Legionaries and the Corsairs as well. We have got the box. Mrs. Tabletop Impulse really loves it, so she's building and painting those, because she really likes the look of both of those teams, as well as the White Dwarf Harlequins. So that's where we are with those, but we get them painted. I'll get some photographs up for you. Yeah, cheerio everybody. Hope you have a great rest of day, week, month, etc. Bye bye.